good evening, and good game, but never good night for us gamers out there. Thank you for tuning in.
Welcome to our podcast. We are just a group of friends who continue to push through challenges and level up together. Regardless of the obstacles or circumstances that we may face, we always find a way to keep grinding and gaining the experience needed to overcome them all. If you're looking for a place to relax, share some laughs, or gain a fresh perspective on things that matter to you, stop by and join the amazing legacy we aim to create.
First topic, Ubisoft and XDefiant closure. This actually happened yesterday. Ubisoft
Mm.
announced a sudden discontinue of XDefiant just 6 months post-launch.
Yeah, like
Affects about
to tell us more about the Ubisoft. I actually haven't got a chance to like look into that. You said X Defiant. What's X Defiant?
yeah. So basically, XDefiant was a game that's supposed to be the Call of Duty killer kind of thing that Ubisoft made. It's like a live streaming Call of Duty kind of game, but unfortunately, they have to do layoffs across Sydney, Osaka, San Francisco, and it actually affected 277 roles that they
Yeah.
currently have. So there's a lot of people out of work. Actually, I actually saw a post on I think X. I posted it on LinkedIn where there was this guy that he was super happy about getting the job on I think August of 2023. Then now he got laid off the following year, so now he's out of work. So it's pretty crazy with all these layoffs that's going on in the video game industry.
Christmas is gonna be really short for them.
It's been like that all year round.
Yeah.
They couldn't attract players. That free to play model. I mean, Fortnite's free to play, PUBG's free to play. People are already playing a lot of live service games. So this one try to do live service and compete with Call of Duty, which also came out this year on Game Pass as well. That's also doing good. It's just bad
It's
planning by them.
it's like a sense of like I wouldn't want to like hearing that for me. As I said before, like I played like Call of Duty Modern Warfare before in the past. I wouldn't want to basically go to another game that's kind of like Call of Duty. Like if I want to play Call of Duty, I wouldn't want to play it off brand. You know?
Exactly. It's like you go to the grocery store, you see the good peanut butter with the skip peanut butter with the chewy kind of thing in it, the crunch, but you have to pick up the store bought brand and it's
Yeah.
not going to taste the same.
I want Skippy.
Like, I
Yeah,
definitely agree that Call of Duty came out, I believe it came out a little earlier before X Defiant was supposed to. And because that already had so much hype, it just completely destroyed any hype that anyone had for X Defiant. Not only does it just had a bigger fan base first and foremost, and it does have a tried and true method that it followed, and maybe its microtransactions are a little bit iffy at times, but compared to a new game that's coming out under the same genre of free to play and everything, and then having to have microtransactions on top of that, people are already very skeptical about that. And then on top of that, there's also plenty of other free to play like shooters, just like as Dylan said, Fortnite. You have, I know there's a couple of other ones because some of my friends actually stream them as well. But you have so many
I think
other.
Variant too. Variant's another one, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's completely populated, and adding another one, especially in the inopportune time that it was supposed to come out and Call of Duty came out, it just like swept it under the rug. So that's a GG for Ubisoft in that regard.
So is it like, all right, we spoke about X Defiant, right? Being a game that's like going off and it's like closing down. How does that also affect Ubisoft? Because that's only just one game, and I know
Yeah.
Ubisoft has multiple games under it. So is it just that game, or is it other games that
It's,
are out there that's like pretty much failing?
and I'm glad you actually brought that up because there's actually other games that's been failing for Ubisoft. For instance, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown
Dang.
underperformed. It's that basically Metrovania roguelike game. People like it, critics like it, but it just didn't perform for them for how much it basically cost. And also Skull and Bones, basically the pirate game that they was making. You know how everyone really wanted Assassin's Creed Black
Yeah.
Flag remastered or part two. that was like the best pirate game ever. Anyway, though, they said that Skull and Bones was going to be a quadruple A game, but the development was spanning over 11 years just to make that game, and that's also live service and underperforming. So between that, games underperforming and stuff like that, it's not looking good. I think their next game is, Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's coming out sometime in February, I think, but it's a lot of bad press around that game. It's going to be releasing around some other games that's coming out in February, like basically that new game that's coming out from Xbox, Avowed, I think, and also Monster Hunter as well. It's not a good time for Ubisoft.
Yeah, I think the main reason why that Prince of Persia game failed was because of the fact that it was a Metroidvania game. Because if I'm not mistaken, all other Prince of Persia games are, not like that. And I don't think they should have tried that method with such a staple title for their company, because everyone, when you think of Prince of Persia, you don't think of a Metroidvania. Like, I think the company is trying to take too many unnecessary risks instead of sticking with what works and what the fans want. They're trying to they're trying to do too much. And that's what's causing them to fail in some of these instances. And with the other Assassin's Creed game, Assassin's Creed Shadows, I heard some really bad press around that game, where the game is forcing people to install a program that identifies your RAM and looks into your RAM, so that if you are using any form of cheating engine, it detects the cheating engine and it kicks you out of the game. Not only that, if you're playing the game and someone else is trying to hop on it from a different platform or like a different device, it can't share. I think there's no cloud sync or something like that. It was something referring to you can't really share data with another device, maybe because that device doesn't have that same program that checks your RAM. But it's kind of hard to work with other devices if you're trying to play that game. And for a single player game, I think this is a little bit too far because of the fact that it's a single player game. Like, you're not affecting no one else's gameplay but your own. So
it's crazy what these companies are doing with that kind of software for single player games.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty unfortunate, but I feel like it's not only trying to dive into a obviously oversaturated market, but there must have definitely been something that went wrong, maybe with how the game was communicated to its player base or what the expectations of the game were, because there are a lot of other FPS games out there, and although they're not as successful as Call of Duty, they still hold their own. So to just completely fail to the point where you have to close your game within 6 months, which is kind of unheard of. I haven't heard of many games who have ever done that. Yeah, they definitely dropped the ball.
They did. I think the closest game, actually, I think the game that kind of beat them is Concord, but that's a different story. I do want to touch on what Mike said about basically having that kind of software in single player games. That's kind of like a good segue into games preservation and the concerns that we have there when it comes to video games. I know Mike was really excited about this topic, so I'm going to pass the ball over to him when it comes to that one. I think Blizzard's decision to delist DRM-free games, World of Warcraft Classics, from GOG.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of game preservation. I'm not sure if you see on my shelf over there, I have a bunch of GameCube titles, and in my closet I have some Nintendo Wii and even PlayStation and Xbox titles. So I really believe in game preservation. I'd rather have a physical disc than having anything digitally on any kind of console that I own, mostly because of the fact that most games requires an internet connection to play these days. And let's just say, hypothetically, you're not connected to the internet for some reason, like you're traveling or going somewhere. I mean, of course, you're at the mercy of digital games, but one day I was trying to boot up Street Fighter 6 on my Steam Deck, and I didn't have an internet connection, so I couldn't play it. So that's what I'm referring to. Like, there's a lot of problems with just digital games, way more than I even mentioned. but there's a lot of problems, and I feel like them going this route is really, really, really not a good move, especially for like I know most consoles these days are like more like digital based than anything, because
Yeah.
they get to I don't know, they get to sell product quicker or something, and most people prefer digital content, but me, I just like preservation. I like knowing that I have a game that I purchased and knowing that I can just pop it into my Switch or my GameCube or my Xbox or PS5. I don't have to get firmware downloads and uploads just to play. I don't have to connect to the internet. I'm not a fan of digital content.
I'm gonna be a devil's
Yeah.
advocate right now. Because, like back in the days when we were in high school, we had to use floppy disks, and then after the floppy disk, we used like ROMs, whether it was like 25 megabytes and stuff like that, just to like print and like burn on CD discs. Now it's like if you were to build a PC, you're really not focusing on getting a CD like player on your PC.
All right. I see what you're getting at,
Uh
because
oh.
you're definitely talking
Uh oh.
about Steam. And yes, I agree with you. I hate using Steam because of the fact that I have over 300 plus games and they're all digital. So if for some reason that Steam just happens to not exist anymore, I just lost thousands of dollars because of the fact that all the games I can't play them.
That's true. Like I think they recently passed like I think it was in California, like a California law saying that, hey, digital storefronts like Steam, you need to tell people that they don't own their games. They have to have like a little pop-up saying, hey, you don't own your game, kind of stuff like that. And I think GOG kind of was a little slick with it, saying, hey, you guys could own games at GOG because you could actually have the ROMs on your desktop for some of these games, and you actually own your games with us. And they're really pushing that right now because, as you all know, we're in this digital age. So they're kind of phasing out the consoles, and you notice how they're having like disk drives attached onto it and stuff like that. They're really pushing out these consoles to the point where everything's just going to be digital because they get more of a cut, and plus they could control the sales on these storefronts. So it's getting pretty wild, and it's getting pretty digital when it comes to that kind of sense for game preservation. I know people have like ROMs and they could do emulators and stuff like that, but it takes a lot of people to learn about that stuff. I mean, I'm still learning about that stuff. Like in stories, they used to have PSPs that's all hacked and stuff like that, and geared out, jailbroken. There you go.
Jailbroken.
So those were the days, and I don't think those days are going away anytime soon.
Yeah, I feel like game preservation is really important. I agreed with a lot what was said, but one thing that kind of bothers me is it seems like developers these days seem to kind of be against the idea. So like I would understand if developers were getting upset about, let's say, like a private server or some kind of emulation that's profiting off of all of their hard work. All the game is still there and ongoing. But like, let's say if a game has been shut down completely, it can't be accessed anywhere in any shape or form. Like it's completely gone. The devs have completely given up on the game, and someone decides to go out of their way to revive that nostalgic game or what have you. They should be free to do it, because I mean, it's part of game preservation, and most games come from some kind of source. Like every game is kind of made from a game that already exists with just other ideas stacked on it.
It's getting real scary when it comes to game preservation. So one day everyone could have it, the next they could just press a button, boop, it's all gone. So hopefully things can get a little bit better with that.
It's the worst thing. The worst problem about that is as you said, if the GOG is like, yeah, you can keep your ROM, sure, you can keep it, but the thing is, the company who made the game can still come at you for saying you have an illegal copy of the ROM, and you can't prove them wrong because you don't have any receipt, any serial code, any license number, or anything like that to prove that you lawfully own a copy of the game. So despite you playing the game, owning it, purchasing it with your money, it's still an issue that can pop up if they choose to pursue you. So
that's like if you was like playing a game that was, let's use XDefiant, right? because they're about to be skedaddled, right? You basically play X and you're recording yourself playing XDefiant, and no one else basically has that game anymore. And you're just recording yourself. Like you can get potentially caught up in some like legal issues because of the fact that you don't have any like rights to the game.
It depends though, because well, the thing is, since it's a free to play game, it depends. There might be
No,
different.
I'm saying like that, like if we was using that game alone, like just an idea, like just a like an idea of it,
Oh, yeah,
like just get a grasp of it,
yeah.
like that you purchased, but you don't have a receipt stating that it like you purchased it, and then now you're playing a game like years after the game has been deleted off of like multiple people desktops, and the game is not even pushing out there for like content or internet play, and you decide like, hey, I'm gonna just play it and record myself and put it on YouTube or something like that, you can potentially get sued from the company,
Yeah.
basically saying that, hey, like this is illegal.
And I hope that doesn't happen. That'll be dark,
Yeah, that's crazy.
dark times,
Yeah.
indeed. Well, speaking about dark times, Elden Ring, new IP update from them. So unfortunately, there was some news from Zaki, basically one of the creators of From Software's Elden Ring. He said that they're currently not working on Elden Ring. They're just sticking with Elden Ring Run. But he did say that he did hint that there's other projects and potential expansions for that IP, such as TV and even anime as well.
Oh.
So that's going to be something with the memes and stuff like that. I personally still am playing through Elden Ring. I still haven't had the time to go back to it, kind of thing. So, what's you guys' thoughts on this kind of news from the From Software team?
I feel like it feels like the DLC just came out the other day, honestly. But
Yeah.
I can understand people getting frustrated with there not being a successor to Elden Ring. But you have to see, when I think of a good game, you have to give it time. You have to like let it marinate. You can't just rush things. I feel like people need to wait. I mean, they just got the DLC. I know the DLC was a long time coming, but they just got the DLC. I feel like they should be able to just enjoy the DLC, take it for all it has to offer, and honestly just wait until they come up with another decent sequel to that amazing game. Like, I can't say that I agree with, well, anime might be sick because there's a lot of stuff you can do with an anime that you normally can't do with just a game.
Yeah.
But,
Think about the story.
yeah,
Think about the characters that they could have. They could have like a random new character that they could have in the game and just plop it into the world, and people kind of really resonate with a lot of these characters in the game. We all know the meme.
praise the
Kind
sun.
of, so when it comes to something like this, it would be cool.
Yeah, exactly. So like I agree with the anime because it could definitely make some amazing moments, but I don't know about a movie because I'm seeing a lot of like games and anime turning into live action films, and they look terrible. So
you say that, but when it comes to like let's just look at it like Mario Brothers movie. That made a lot of money for Nintendo. Like, Nintendo is not just a video game company anymore. They're like a whole entertainment kind of. They have games, they have movies, amusement park. It's getting kind of crazy, and all this craziness is going on with the video game industries and layoffs and stuff like that. They're kind of looking at other ways to kind of increase, more profits for the company. So,
it just depends on like who is picking the anime up. Like, is it gonna be on Crunchyroll, and like who would be like the voice actors when it comes down to the movies and stuff like that? Because like as you said, like for Super Mario Brothers, they had Jack Black. Like,
that Black wasn't bad as Browser,
and he had a whole like song ordeal, which like even kids like now they sing that song like every single day. So like you have to have something catchy. If it's not picking up, then I don't know if it's gonna last as far as like a movie, or if it's not the right streaming service for the anime side of it, it may just be clipped. It may be pushed to the side.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy because I think everyone heard about that news about how Sony wants to acquire From Software, and plus, they already have Crunchyroll and stuff like that, and that whole domination when it comes to the anime industry. But that's a whole nother can of worms kind of thing. But
yeah, I mean, I think it's okay if Elden Ring doesn't want to work on a sequel just yet. I mean, if anything, I think too many games kind of ride the wave when they have a good game, and they kind of force sequels when it's completely unnecessary. And a lot of the time, I notice people aren't usually as happy with the sequel compared to the original. In fact, like some series, the sequels end up ruining the entire like game. Example would be like Overwatch 2. I personally never played Overwatch, but it's been a game that's been on my radar, so I kind of know about
Overwatch
it
1 was
somewhat.
amazing.
Yeah, and everyone loved Overwatch. It was a very popular game. Then they dropped Overwatch 2, and it's did terrible. It flopped, and now people don't even like Overwatch altogether. And Blizzard's in some hot water.
Yeah, like when they took away basically one player from each team kind of thing, so people don't have like the tank meta. When I was playing it, people had like 2 tanks and stuff like that. But and then the head of that game, I think his name was Jeff Kaplan, he left and stuff. And remember how they was making like a PvE mode, and they're gonna have like a story mode onto it and stuff like that. And they basically just ripped that all away,
Yup.
saying, "Okay, guys, no, we're not doing that anymore. We're doing this now." That lost a lot of fans, man. So I can't even play Overwatch 2 anymore. I don't have friends into it anymore. They rather play other games like heck, Helldivers 2. They rather play games like that. But
I'm definitely interested in knowing, like, has there been another game that came out with a game first and then afterwards transitioned into being a movie or a anime series compared to like Super Mario Brothers and stuff like that, and
League of
like
Legends.
how the League of Legends,
yeah,
how
Arcane was
well
that's pretty good for them. That's doing very well for them. They got a few awards for it and everything. I think the reason why video game companies are looking into like media is because it's just another outlet for increasing sales,
exactly,
increasing
yeah.
profits and stuff like that, and just getting more exposure to a different group outside of our whole ecosystem kind of thing. Because we're in the mix, right? But if little Timmy that doesn't play video games watches a Sonic kind of movie, he's like, "What's Sonic?" Right? And then he looks at the games and he's like, "Wow, what's games for this?" And then it's like game over for him to be in the ecosystem of video games. So yeah, it's quite interesting what's going on with these properties and how they're expanding their reach with media.
Yeah. Some other noteworthy mentions is Devil May Cry is getting an animated Netflix series. Genshin
Hey.
Impact is making an anime as well.
And
Oh.
where would the Genshin Impact be? Would that be on Netflix?
I'm not sure yet. It's been in development for like 2 years, but I don't know what platform. Maybe Netflix.
Hopefully they have a good studio behind it.
Yeah.
It'll be a good studio.
Yeah. I'm not too sure yet. I haven't really been following them, but it's highly anticipated from what some people are talking about. So
Okay. What kind of anime is everyone's watching?
With like, you mean like watching like the anime that I'm
Like watching
currently?
like watching currently. Like for me, I'm watching, of course, a lot of One Piece. Of course, love One Piece to death. Right now, it's on Fishman Island, so I'm like kind of
How many
skipping that,
episodes
but
is
I'm
that
reading
again?
the manga.
Like 10,000? Yeah, like 10,000
11.
episodes.
It's about 11 plus. But they're actually making a remaster of the One Piece anime.
Oh,
so
no.
new people coming in, and they'll shorten it and cut out the filler and stuff like that. But aside from One Piece, I'm watching the final season of Attack on Titan. I think it's time for me to finish that up, stuff like that. And watching Dandadan, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Dandadan is definitely cool. I watched that, and I'm currently watching that. I just finished The Way of the House Husband, which is on Netflix. It's like a guy who is a past mafia boss, and like how he speaks and talks is like really like rough and tough, but he's like the ultimate softy, and he like does like house chores, cleans up, cooks cakes.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that
Yeah,
one's
it's a
pretty
play
off
on.
the wall.
Yeah, I've actually been trying to be in my anime bag. The other anime that I just finished, which was a good anime, was, I think it was Glorious. I'm probably gonna get the name wrong. I think it was like Glorious Dungeon or Glorious Food in
Oh,
Dungeon.
Glorious Delicious Dungeon.
Yes.
That's another good one. I recently finished that one like about 2 months ago. It's pretty good. It's pretty wholesome, you know?
Yeah.
It's good to have wholesome animes.
Yeah.
What you watching these days?
I'm actually not watching anything right now, but I am reading a manga. Yeah, I'm currently reading a manga called The Returner's Magic Should Be Special. Don't think it's really popular or anything like that, so you probably don't know what it is. But to sum it up, it's pretty much like think of medieval, I guess, medieval times, kind of like SAO vibes.
Okay.
But instead of it being a game, it's actually how their lives are. So pretty much the protagonist of the story has everyone who's closest to him die in, I guess, their final battle. And as he dies, he kind of ends up being reborn at like as a teenager again at the start of his training arc pretty much, and he wants to do it all over again, but this time make sure he's strong enough and everyone who's close to him gets trained properly so they do not die if that fight ends up happening again.
Oh, it's an interesting story. I might check that out. I think the only other, manga that I'm reading is Sakamoto Days is another one I'm reading that's going to get an adaptation next year, which is pretty cool. And I think this is going to be like probably one of the big three once it's like animated. I said it here first. Kabutabachi, pretty cool. If you guys haven't checked that out, it's basically, mythical samurai kind of kid. His dad was a blacksmith. He created these, I think, 7 swords, and he died. And now he's out on revenge. So it's a pretty cool, awesome art when it comes to things, and I think you guys will like it.
Okay.
What you're watching these days?
So, just like stories, I haven't really been watching much anime as of lately because there's just way too many games that I have to finish. But the last anime that I've seen, it was a movie. It was the Konosuba movie. For manga, the last manga that I read was, I think, Solo Leveling was the last manga that I read.
Solo Leveling.
That's on my list.
Yeah, I think that's the Ma one, right? I watched it. I kind of don't want to read it because I like the animation too much.
Yeah.
I'm like stuck on the animation. So I'm like, I'm just going to wait until they come out with a new season, which they are, which is awesome. Solo Leveling is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like the whole concept.
Where you guys getting the books from? Like, what website are you using to read the mangas?
I just go on, manga, Shonen Jump app. I actually pay for the subscription kind of thing. $2 a month. I have it all there. I could download it. It's easy on my phone.
I used to use, I think it was something called like Mangaka a lot or something like that. But then I ended up getting shut down or something like that. So now I'm just using something called Manga, and it has a lot of mangas on that website.
I think I used Manga Dex as well, but there was another website that one of my friends gave me that I used to use, but I have to find it. I have way too many tabs, but yeah, I can't disclose that information right now. But wait, is this it? Yeah, it's Manga Dex. Yeah, it is Manga Dex.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. Well, that's any closing remarks on the pod? Anything that happens this week or any level up stories you guys want to share?
Let's see. And completely unrelated news, I started a journey on Street Fighter 6 to do ranked matches. So I'm currently ranking up to try to get master rank with one of the characters in Street Fighter 6. I can't say that's too much of a journey, but normally I don't really care about ranking at all in a fighting game. Most of my friends usually just push me to get to like the upper echelon of rankings in the games. I normally don't care, and some of them persuaded me to try to do it in Street Fighter 6, and I'm still kind of new to playing the game, but that's kind of a journey that I'm going on. Right now I'm almost master rank. I'm just like, I think 2 rankings away from it. So, and I think I started like Saturday or so. So, I know a lot of people can just turn on the game and get there in like a couple of hours, but me, since I don't really play Street Fighter 6 as much, it's kind of an achievement. If I do get it done before the month is over, who knows? But yeah, that's
what make a series out of that.
I did for one of the games that I played, but Street Fighter 6 is like, I don't know, I know some people wanted to watch me go through the process, but I didn't think about streaming it, so.
I think it's time to press start on that.
Yeah.
Lord P?
And I'm just watching all these animes or rewatching animes on Netflix and Hulu. I know it started with, Ippo. I don't know if you guys watched that before.
Oh, yeah, man. Ippo. Yeah, I love that Best boxing ever.
I watched that, finished that, and then as I said before, in regards to just the house husband was pretty much fun. Right now, I am in the series of Undead Unluck, which is on Hulu. It's really dope. It's like when I seen the I guess the picture like of like how it like first shows like when you go to it, I was like, this is gonna be one of them like animes where you start to see like the team build up and they have like their like background stories because that's like exactly what I like their like background story where they come from and then afterwards coming together to then like fight this monster or battle something. They haven't really much gave a full in-depth background story of each character, but you start to see as it builds like, okay, yeah, this one was here before this one and this one actually started it, and it's really dope. I really like it. But
Yeah,
I'm
Undead
just
Unluck is
trying
it's
to watch.
really good.
Yeah, I'm just trying to watch anime right now. Trying to get my anime on.
Yeah, I've been reading it a lot. I'm actually up to date, and it's actually getting to the point where it's at its climax in the manga. So you're in for a good ride, man. It's a well, not a wild ride. It's a sick ride if you get that right.
Yeah.
What about you, stories? Any level up stories personally, or any closing remarks on anime or games this week?
I mean, we could,
Go
but
kick my
I
butt.
haven't. No, I haven't played fighting games up until recently, and almost 11 years, let alone even used the controller in that long as well. So
Wow.
I got a lot of catching up to do, and
Don't be
I
modest.
I
We
just hit
all
diamond, so I'm slowly working my way up to masters. Got to catch up to iconic, so.
all right.
And
Well,
where you
we'll
at,
see.
Iconic?
Diamond 3, and there's Diamond 4, Diamond 5, and then Master. So
We'll
And you use the
see.
gamepad?
I use a PS5
Oh wow.
pad.
Oh, hardcore. I just use a controller.
Yeah, I
I used
only
to use a fight pad, but not anymore.
I only use that for like anime fighters because most anime fighters require like really intense and quick inputs. So that's why I use that. So my inputs are more precise. But if I'm just playing like Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, then I'll just use a controller.
All right. As for me, level up story. Actually, I did my first live stream. Big support. Basically, there's this community on LinkedIn. It's basically Games Direct that basically posts jobs in the video game industry. They invited me to speak with a lot of other speakers or other speakers to talk about any, job hunting tips and tricks for people to level up in the video game industry kind of thing. So I did that for the first time. It was pretty cool. And also, I'm working on a YouTube video that fuses Mario and the star method of interviews. So stay tuned for that one. But for this week, I'm is going to upload the 10 tips that gamers should know to level up their resume. So that's going to be coming out on the channel with some shorts as well. So that's what I've been doing when it comes to things. So yeah. So basically where people could find you, Iconic.
On X as well. You can find me on YouTube. And yeah, those are all of my socials.
Yeah,
Stories.
my link.
Or also on X, but I don't really use X much, but also stories WR on there as well.
And Lord P.
Or P, I link tree slash I Lord underscore P. I is where all my handles are, which is the Instagram, which is at B Patrick. You can also gather all these links that we just mentioned in our link itself, which is linkbio.co/LVL up legacy.
And that will be in the description below. So no worries. You don't need to type all of that out.
Wherever you are, wherever you may be, it is never too late to level up your legacy. Thanks for tuning in.